Hello everyone. Cher consigliere federale Monsieur Pamela, cari rappresentanti del Canton Ticino e della città Lugano, dear distinguished guests, it's my really great honor to be here to talk a bit about the Swiss AI initiative that's been mentioned in a couple of presentations already. This is a joint initiative that ETH and EPFL are co-leading, but also goes much beyond. We'll talk a bit about that before, and I'm here speaking on behalf of the steering committee of this initiative. So over the last 10 years or so, we've really seen tremendous advances in AI, not only in understanding and processing complex data sets like text and images, but also to generate them. So this can be visually seen pretty well in the figure on the left. 10 years ago, these models were generating blurry average faces. Now they can create pretty precise descriptions, scenes from textual prompts, like drawing pictures with a dog with a ground sitting on a throne, and so on. I'm sure many of you have been experimenting with these models. And many of us are interacting with models like ChatGPT on a daily basis, and they help us do even absurd tasks like rap songs about submodular optimization. And now, of course, these models are starting to have tremendous impact across science, industry, and society. DeepMind's AlphaFold really revolutionized overnight the field of structural biology with lots of impact on drug design, development, and others. And there's applications without end. The picture on the right is an application of generative AI in architecture, where these models help navigating complex design spaces about vertical gardens. And this is really a kind of a nice physical outcome of one of the models that have been generating with generative AI. Now, all of these advances have been catalyzed through compute. And of course, that's why we're here. So if you look at notable models in this area, they've been increasing in terms of the number of flops used to compute them by a factor of almost 1 billion over the last 10 years. And those go with commensurate improvements according to various evaluation criteria. Just to put these numbers in performance, if you take the by now outdated GPT-3 model that's been trained by about 400 GPU years, right? And current models are a factor of 100 bigger than that. So just to put numbers in perspective, right? And you really need massive parallel compute in order to get anywhere close to computing these models in practical timescales. And of course, a lot of these models are really developed by a small set of typically private companies. And I think this already leads us to one of the motivations. So one of the challenges, of course, that these models are developed behind closed doors. There's little insight on design choices that go into them. And some of these models behave in rather unexpected ways and sometimes can fail in unexpected ways. So there's a documented case, for example, where you ask a model to repeat the word poem, 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 poem forever. And while doing so for a while, at some point, the model regurgitates some sensitive training data it's been trained on. And there's sort of such cases that are really quite curious and difficult to understand otherwise. And of course, with all these developments, many of our societal institutions are not really adapted to them. So if you want to turn AI really into a trustworthy technology that we can use across of the use cases that are being hyped up a lot these days, then we really need to understand them much more carefully. We need to be able to systematically investigate them. We need a lot more transparency about what goes into these models, how they work, what they produced, right? And of course, we need to really shape this technology in order to benefit all of society. And with our initiative, we hope to be able to contribute to that, at least to some extent. So we want to develop capacities and capabilities, know-how and talent to build trustworthy generative AI models aligned with Swiss values. And we really want to develop models in the public goods that are becoming available to the benefit of Swiss society and beyond. Now, these days, to sort of understand this foundation, the term foundation model was dropped a few times, right? These days, models typically are trained on massive amounts of data called pre-training, and then they might be adapted downstream to various different use cases and different applications. And this pre-training step, really training these models from scratch, is incredibly computationally expensive. And of course, that is where Alps is coming in, which is, of course, the center of this whole initiative and the reason why we are all here today. And so by really working and establishing capabilities to training these models from scratch, we can really understand all the data goes in, be transparent about that, but also develop energy-efficient algorithms and make some methodological advances in training the next generation of models. So many aspects going beyond this, adapting these models to different use cases, human AI alignment, human AI collaboration, assessing security properties of these models through community red teaming. So our consortium contains world-leading experts around AI safety and security, for example. And then, of course, through deployment and using these models together with our deployment partners, we hopefully learn to advance the next generation of these models. So this is all about really creating a generative AI innovation ecosystem here in Switzerland. We want to be able to produce large-scale open AI and really open source AI models for key sectors and relevance to Swiss economy and society. Key applications range from education, use in scientific domains, training protein models and genetic data, for example, protein foundation models, applications in medicine and public health, climate, weather prediction, we've talked about, of course, is a key use case, egocentric vision, robotics, and so on. And of course, this is a large consortium. This is really comprising all researchers here in Switzerland interested in advancing science in this domain, involving more than 70 PIs across more than 10 institutions. While this initiative is led by ETH and EPFL, it's really open and also involving, for example, some of the institutions active in AI research here in the canton of Ticino. And so all of, for example, so there's also an interesting exercise in kind of doing research in this space. So in AI, in the past, kind of all models, all teams are working on small models that they've trained on themselves. These days, this doesn't work anymore, right? One really has to team up, right? And learn to use these large infrastructures, as has been done, for example, in experimental physics. And so really trying to create this consortium to kind of set the right incentive structures to identify these big bets that can really make a difference. And so, of course, this initiative is just starting. Of course, there's already a lot of AI research happening in Switzerland. Here's an early success really around generative AI and language models through this members of this consortium, the Meditron model. So Annie Hartley, I think, is also sitting in the audience. She presented that at the symposium yesterday in Zurich in much more detail. But it's really a nice open medical language model that's released fully open data, open source, open weights, and now through Alps that's going under the kind of taking to the next level, including more modalities being pushed forward. And that model is already close to kind of the best commercial language models in this space, so we can really hope that we are able to push these models forward. So I think here in Switzerland, we really have a unique opportunity afforded now through Alps as the computational substrate, but also other expertise that we've built up through the Swiss Data Science Center for accelerating the adoption of data science and AI across science and industry, and of course the research expertise bundled in the ETH AI Center and the EPFL AI Center, as well as many PIs working beyond these institutions that bring world-leading AI expertise to bear. So I'm very, very excited about this. I want to end by thanking, of course, the entire teams around Alps. We wouldn't be here without them. It's a tremendous effort that goes into it. Thank all of you very much for your attention, all of the colleagues involved in this initiative, and I wish us all a great rest of the day.